Bulletin: Pacific Islands electoral administrators urged to be apolitical. Fiji National Provident Fund Chief Executive resigns. And supermarket chain to develop old Nausori Market site. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. The minister responsible for elections, Ayaz Said Qayyum, has reminded Pacific Islands electoral administrators to be apolitical. Said Qayyum made the comment at a workshop for electoral administrators in Suva today. Ali Kimbia has more.
Fiji was an active member of the Pacific Islands, Australia and New Zealand Electoral Administrators Network, PIANZA, until the 2006 coup. Said Qayyum says it's important for PIANZA to be attuned with what's happening in the region.
And then suddenly the connection was lost after the events of 2006. It is very critical that when you are talking about parliaments, when you're talking about elections office, when you're talking about the judiciary, that they need to be all dealt with in a very apolitical manner.
Said Qayyum says all these institutions go towards building democracies and building strong independent institutions. He adds it's important to ensure no one in the Pacific is allowed to be sidelined, and he has urged workshop participants to try and build strong networks. The workshop is called the Building Resource in Democracy, Governance and Elections, was opened by the Australian High Commissioner Margaret Toomey.
I hope this is the sort of information that will help you better understand the electoral process so that you in turn can use this information to improve your own processes.
The workshop will give the Fijian Elections Office the opportunity to gain more knowledge about how to conduct elections as it maps the way forward for the next general election. Ali Kimbia, FBC News.
The Fiji National Provident Fund will begin searching for a new chief executive at the end of June. Board Chair Jit Korogora has confirmed to FBC News that Aisake Taito has tendered his resignation. Having led the fund for about 8 years, Taito has taken his accumulated leave. His term ends on June 30th. Korogora says the process of finding a replacement will then begin, and the FNPF is ready for new leadership and a new direction. The Constitutional Officers Commission is expected to appoint the chairperson and members of the Human Rights and Anti-Discrimination Commission at its meeting on Friday. The COC is also expected to appoint the chairperson and members of the Public Service Commission. Opposition Representative Mick Beddoes says they have compiled a list of prospects and have made their submission for their nominees appointed on the advice of the opposition leader. However, Beddoes could not confirm the nominees, saying this will be announced after the meeting. The commission is chaired by Prime Minister Vurenge Bainimarama. The Fiji Revenue and Customs Authority says a new service fee in the tourism industry could have an impact on the industry. The authority presented its submission to the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Economic Affairs on a petition by tourism industry workers to introduce a service fee. Ellen Stolz reports.
The proposed service fee is intended to supplement the income of workers in the tourism industry. Fiji Revenue and Customs Authority says the tourism industry at the moment is very volatile and there has not been a consistent increase in the growth rate when it comes to tourism earnings.
So the question is whether introducing a new service tax, what would be the real impact on the tourism product. As it appears, is going to create impact because the good is not inelastic as other goods.
While their role was purely an advisory one, Raman said factors like the increase in departure tax rate to $200, 15% VAT, and fluctuations in the exchange rate have had an impact on the earnings. He also said that while the intention to have a service fee is a noble one, it needs to be identified as either a proposal for wage policy or a tax policy.
If it is a wage policy, then of course the mechanisms that is inbuilt in the government's labor policy mechanisms can be looked at, and the issue can be channeled from that angle. Because after all, it's helping the worker. The point is that the moment we use taxation, it would going to create a whole host of distortions.
Committee Chairman Balmindra Singh says there is a need to continue to get more consultations with other stakeholders on the issue. Ellen Stolz, FBC News.
Work will begin on a major project at the old Nausori Market in the next few months. The Ministry for Local Government has today announced the company that has been awarded the tender to develop the site. Akusita Tale has the details.
Namboa-based Shop and Save supermarket is expanding its business after it was awarded the tender to develop the old Nausori Market. Local Government Minister Praveen Kumar Bala says the company will sublease the site for 50 years.
They will be required to pay $2 million as the premium, and that will be upfront payment. They shall be required to pay a rental of $100,000 per annum, which shall be reassessed and increased by 10% at the interval of every 5 years.
Shop and Save Chief Financial Officer Abhishek Abhimanu says they are happy to take up the offer and will respond within 3 days. The supermarket will invest $40 million on the project, and construction will commence as soon as the architectural, engineering and documentation processes are completed.
I know that people will be very happy once they will hear that it's not only we are dealing with grocery shops, office space, but now we are coming with a mixture of developments. And that is the new direction that now all the municipal councils will take.
The complex will include 2 floors of retail shops, office space, hotel or apartment and a cinema. There will also be a car park space for 100 vehicles. Akusita Tale, FBC News.
2 international celebrity chefs will film an episode of a cooking show in Suva tomorrow. Malaysian celebrity chef and food ambassador Datuk Chef Wan and New Zealand celebrity chef Robert Oliver are filming a world travel series cooking show, Kembara Chef Wan or KCW. This year will be the show's 3rd season, and it will showcase the rich cuisine, culture and potential tourist destinations of Fiji. The duo have partnered with the Tourism Fiji and will be travelling around the country with their crew.
And as long as I remembered, I've always wanted to come to Fiji because I keep seeing all these national day things that they organize back in Malaysia, and you see all these nice dances from Fiji and food, because I go a lot to all these important embassy function and all that. I was very impressed, and I said someday I want to come down and do a little bit about the island life.
The TV series will be broadcast in 90 countries as well as on Air Asia flights. Coming up, Parliamentary Committee's final report on petition against development at Lautoka's Shirley Park out by next week.
Ya vino pale mwanzo kwa chuma ni mwezi mmoja na bula FM namba 2 na siri na ngona ni ndende manda ke central rental support ke ne rusu ko minichi me va na koloko ni sabola
oya wa wati soni dalai
gonga ya mwezi don
nama kikirau mena tolu kene bitu ena via kabi moliti kene porombuka
goria na lali ne kabi bula FM namba 2 na siri
The Parliamentary Standing Committee on Natural Resources will finalise its report on a petition against a development at Lautoka's Shirley Park by next week. A group of ratepayers have signed a petition opposing a move by the council to rezone part of the park for a new hotel. Committee Chairman Choeli Dawaki says the report will not determine whether the hotel project will go ahead. Instead, it will clarify who has the authority to determine development in the area.
We will report on the facts of the case, what we've received and what the people in Lautoka said. And again, I would say the outset that the director of the country planning is the relevant legal mandate to decide.
The Waki says the report will be tabled in Parliament this month. Today is International Midwifery Day, and the Ministry of Health wants to train more midwives for our hospitals. With about 300 now, the ministry is seeking funding to train more. Julie Vatiwali with the details.
These Suva midwives are celebrating the day devoted to them for their hard work. With the theme, "The world needs midwives now more than ever," the Ministry of Health is determined to provide more midwives in Fiji.
This is a vital indicator of the need for more midwives, which the Ministry of Health and Medical Services is doing its level best to strategize on how it can achieve this. Other maternal services components, as that of provision of advanced family planning services, as in the insertion and removal of intrauterine devices by trained midwives, quality cervical cancer screenings, early detection of abnormalities during pregnancy, and the overall expansion of maternal and child health services provides good rationale to increasing the number of midwives in the country.
Midwives are the first people to touch a child when it is born. The president of the Midwifery Society of Fiji, Major Aliote Ngalovokandua, says the work of a midwife may seem hectic, but their job is actually fulfilling.
I must say, if we have the passion and the commitment, we enjoy doing midwifery wherever we are. Caring for a pregnant mom from pregnancy and to go through delivery, and even to have that bundle of joy at the end of that 9 months. It's a fulfilling that only midwives can always share.
The profession of midwifery is vital to mothers giving birth, and it is honored throughout the world. Julie Vatuwaliwali, FBC News.
The Ministry of Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation has launched the 2015 Fiji Women's Expo. The Expo will host women from a number of rural backgrounds to a week of personal exhibitions. Shireen Lata reports.
Following last year's successful Expo, the Ministry for Women is hosting another one this year. Minister for Women Rosie Akbar says it's an opportunity for women in rural areas to sell their products and generate some income.
Therefore, it is a gateway for self-reliance, raised self-esteem and boosting confidence in our women. The novelty of the Expo serves to boost the lifetime confidence of women so that they can become independent in their lives.
More than 2,000 women showcased and sold their products at the Expo last year. Trends are slightly different for this year's Expo.
Instead of bringing all women's group to the capital, we are now organizing divisional shows and competitions. We want a smaller number for 2015, but of course, with tested, proven quality products that meet the standards set by the relevant authorities.
To display our talents reflected through our projects to such a large audience for a period of 3 days. Not only this, many of us got the opportunity to attend skills, workshops, access free health checks, and financial education training for the first time in our life.
The theme for the Expo is connecting women to markets, and it will be held in Suva in October. Shireen Lata, FBC News.
John O'Connor has been reappointed as the Chief Executive Officer of the National Fire Authority for a term of 3 years. NFA Chair Francis Keane says O'Connor's reappointment comes at a very important phase in the reforms of the NFA. This includes the final stages of review of NFA legislations to capture its expanding role as an emergency response provider. A number of applications were received for the post, and consultants KPMG were engaged to oversee the recruitment process. It's now been 3 days since 16-year-old Shaina Sharma of Ndavuilevu, Nausori went missing. Shaina's family is seeking the public's assistance for any information they might have on the whereabouts of their daughter. The 16-year-old left her home with a friend at about 9 a.m. on Sunday, saying she was going to the temple. She was wearing a pink and green salwar kameez and was last seen at the Nausori bus station. Anyone with information is requested to call or inform their nearest police station. And on that note, it's Sports Up next. Jamie's not with us tonight, but Ako is here with the very latest. And what a busy week for sports, Ako.
Good evening. It is a busy week for sports, and coming up, 2 big names join Fiji Sevens in Scotland. Also, Rewa wants to continue winning momentum at the Fiji Fact. Stay with us for that and more.
छू 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 हे हे नमस्ते फीजी, आपके हर एक प्रॉब्लम की दवा लेकर मैं आ गई हूँ 9 से 12 बजे तक आपकी सहेली रेनू। छू 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 40 में 20 का दिखना है। मैं हूँ ना आपके साथ में मिर्ची एफएम पर 9 से 12 बजे तक मंडे टू फ्राइडे। मिर्ची इट्स हॉट।
Welcome back. This is FBC Sports. Former Fiji Sevens reps Nicola Matawalu and Leone Nakarawa turned up at the national sides camp in Scotland in the lead-up to the Glasgow tournament this weekend. The duo are contracted with the Glasgow Warriors rugby side. Matawalu and Nakarawa offered moral support to the players as they look to end the World Series on a winning note.
Nicola and Leone have been around with the team. Obviously they're with Glasgow, so aren't training with us, but they're spending time with us, and are great blokes and very professional, so it's good to have them here. Nice addition really to the rest of the group.
The Vodafone Fiji Sevens team will take on Wales in its opening pool match of the Glasgow Sevens at 11:42 p.m. on Saturday. The Samoa Association of Sports and National Olympic Committee wants its Rugby Sevens team to join the likes of Vodafone Fiji Sevens in the 2016 Olympics in Brazil. Heading into the Scotland Sevens this weekend, Samoa is currently in the 9th place on the World Series standings. The side might have to go through a qualifying process to make the Olympics, and Fasanok Chief Executive Fa'amausili Tayava Ayang remain confident.
Yes, I can say that the Rugby 7 in Samoa is getting well underway. They've been preparing themselves well, and let's all hope that come 2016 we'll all go then compete. Let's all also hope that we will get what we're all striving for.
This is the first time Rugby Sevens will be played in the Olympics. Hype is building up towards the first Rewa River Bilibili race in 20 years. The 5-kilometer race from Nanganivatu village in Naitasiri to the Nausori Rewa Bridge aims to raise money for construction of the village church. Chalendo Dakadaka has more.
The bamboo raft on Bilimbili used to be the only mode of transport for the people of Naitasiri to travel down the Rewa River. Excitement was evident on the faces of villagers as they watched the men put the rafts together. 6 rafts will start the downriver journey early on Friday, all to raise money for the completion of the village church.
We've been trying to revive our traditional mode of transport, long treasured by our forefathers, our great-grandparents, especially to the people of Naitasiri, using Bilibili.
It will be a 2-day voyage with an overnight stop on Friday at Waindra. They'll continue down the river at 6 a.m. on Saturday. A big shed is being built on the Nanganivatu village green to welcome the return of the participants on Saturday night with feasting and merrymaking.
Our plan is to organize bigger and better next year. So we'll take it down to organize a 2-day event in Shirley Park in Nausori, following up after the trekking of Roa River 5 kilometers from Nanganivatu village down to Shirley Park in Nausori.
This is the first time the race is being held here in Nanganivatu. The excitement is building up in the village as the race proper begins on Friday. Tsalendo Vakavak, FBC Sports.
Rewa will not leave any stones unturned as it prepares to take on Lambasa on Thursday in their second match of the Vodafone Fiji Fact. The Delta Tigers defeated Suva 1-0 in their first encounter, and a win against the Bambasing Alliance this week just might be enough for a spot in the semi-finals. Rohit Deo has more.
The Rewa football side is riding high with a win against the Whites. The Reds coach says the match against the capital city side wasn't easy, but he's happy with the way his team has performed.
We were glad that we won the first 3 points. Going into the game as a more weaker team compared to Suva. I think Suva coming from the O-League competition with experience. We maintain focus with the task ahead of us, and we ensured that we must meet the objective of last Sunday's game, and that was to win and score goals. I think we did that well, and now we're looking forward to our next game.
Rewa played the match without 4 of its players who are in the national under-20 camp. The coach says the replacements performed better than he had expected.
That was one thing that limited our options in terms of attacking variation. Having 4 key players being ruled out for the competition, that gave us a lot of room to work hard, and I think the absence of the under-20 players in other terms was a motivating factor for 4 new players to step up and stamp their mark into the team.
They face Lambasa next and are wary of the Bal Sanjura, the coach side.
All our resources now have been diverted to the Lambasa game. We're taking this game very seriously, and knowing the fact that Lambasa is a very strong team. their current standing in the National League speaks a lot on its own. So we will take this game still with the underdog tag and make sure that we go and do the damage during the game.
Rewa plays Lambasa at 5:30 p.m. at Prince Charles Park on Thursday. The Rewa side has only once lifted the Fiji FMF crown back in 2011. They have a team that has been gelling in well and will surely be one of the favourites for this weekend. Rohit Dev, FBC Sports.
Meanwhile, the battle heats up from Thursday as teams try and book a spot in the semi-finals. Suva is in a must-win situation against Nausori Market. Bar battles against Nandronga, while in the feature match of the day, defending champions and host Nandi take on Lautoka. Pool matches continue on Friday, while the semi-finals and final will be played on Saturday and Sunday respectively. And that was your sports for tonight. It's back to Jackie for business.
FMF Foods Limited is expanding further with plans to set up another biscuit factory. CEO Rambaja Kalal says the production line will cater specifically for the Melanesian market. Ritika Pratap reports.
There is so much demand for FMF Foods products that the company has decided it needs an entirely new factory.
The present factory that we have, we're manufacturing to full capacity, and it's fulfilling the local market as well as the export market. So it's now come to a time when we need to make a new kind of product, a new biscuit, and this capacity isn't enough. So that's why we're building a new factory.
The parent company has experience in setting up and running large biscuit factories, and this new venture will take advantage of that success.
It will not be too dissimilar. It'll be fairly similar to that. It's just that it's going to be focused on a certain few products, not all the kind of products that we make in this factory. So it's certain products that we're going to target the export market with.
Construction will begin next month, and it's expected to end in about 12 months. The investment will create 120 direct jobs and an equal number indirectly.
I think what the investment shows is, as we keep saying, the Reserve Bank has been churning out very positive indicators on Fiji's progress and the growth, but there is nothing like seeing what's happening on the ground, and this is evidence of the confidence that investors feel into now investing into the economy and benefiting from it.
The new company will run by its subsidiary Bakery Company of Fiji Limited. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
Strong southeast trade winds and a low-pressure trough to the north combined to bring mixed weather to Fiji today. Those in the east experienced gusty winds accompanied by scattered showers, while in the west it was still windy but without much rain. Maximum temperatures range from 28 to 32 degrees in Lambasa. Expect cool temperatures tonight. The forecast midnight tomorrow for southern Vanua level, Kandavu, eastern Viti level, Lau, Lomai Viti, the Yasawas and Mamanu the groups. Scattered showers and strong southeast winds with average speeds of 45 kilometers an hour, rough to very rough seas. In the west, it should be fine apart from a chance of afternoon or evening showers with moderate winds and rough seas. Thursday's outlook continues the trend of scattered showers and moderate winds. Recapping our main stories. The minister responsible for elections, Ayasaid Kayum, has reminded Pacific Island electoral administrators to be apolitical. The Fiji National Provident Fund will begin searching for a new chief executive officer at the end of June following the resignation of Aisake Taito, and the Constitutional Officers Commission is expected to appoint the chairperson and members of the Human Rights and Anti-Discrimination Commission at its meeting on Friday. Now to our poll question for this week, we're asking, do we have an accurate picture of the crime rate? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. You have been watching FBC News. Join us again tomorrow at the same time. Bye for now.